What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to comment, guys, if you can. Be sure to like the stream if you can. Helps it get out to more and more people, so I greatly appreciate that. But yeah, guys, help me out here. We're going to discuss a couple things going on in the Colts world today. Make sure you guys hop on in here. Make sure you say hi. And then also go ahead in the comments as well. Put some stuff down that you guys want me to talk about in the show today. Because that's what this is about. Just talking with you guys about things that interest you. So feel free to do that. Hope you guys are having a good start to your week. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate you, Stallion Films. Appreciate you. But yeah, some news today. The Indianapolis Colts are hiring Charlie Partridge to be their next defensive line coach. We will be sure to talk about that in this show as well. So make sure you guys do that as well. Talk about that. Let me know what you guys think about it. Love to talk about Richardson and if we can accurately guess how Anthony will progress. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that we can talk about for sure. What is going on, everybody? Thank you to everybody who is tuning in right now. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up from Destin when it comes to the hire here. There we go. Yep, just want to make sure that I get this article up from him. What do you think of DC coordinator hiring? I don't know. It doesn't sound like the Colts are moving on from Gus Bradley. As much as some of us would love to do that, I don't think that that's what we're going to end up doing. So, I mean, it will be interesting because, you know, Charlie Partridge has spent a lot of time not just as a defensive line coach. He has also been a guy that has done the assistant coach duties before at the collegiate level. Even has been a co-op DC. So this is a guy that knows how to call plays, you know, how to read designs, know how to call plays and design things. So it definitely could be an interesting thing moving forward. But shout out to everybody watching right now, guys. Be sure to like the stream. Helps it get out to more people. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. All that good stuff, guys. Thank you so much. We're right now talking about this hire for the Indianapolis Colts, hiring Pitt defensive line coach Charlie Partridge. And actually go ahead and pull that up. But I will say this. I think that a lot of people are guessing on what Charlie Partridge's role is going to be in this. Give me 1 second here, guys. Y'all are really hitting the content streams here lately. Keep it coming. Love getting the scoops from fans like us. Appreciate you, Steve Nevins. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. We're definitely trying. We're trying to do more streams recently, you know, trying to help get a little bit more consistency throughout the week, especially now with, you know, there not being a ton to talk about from a Colts perspective. It is nice to have some of these streams where you guys come in here, give me points to talk about, and then we're able to, you know, be able to have a conversation about things that are on your guys' mind instead of just making up videos to try to appeal to the audience. You as the audience get a chance to talk with me directly through these streams. So it definitely is nice. So I appreciate that, man. Hey, Dennis Douglas, what's up? But a lot of people really are liking the hire here from Charlie Partridge here. I know that Andrew Moore had said a few things about it. Destin Adams said some things about it. Zach Hicks mentioned a few things about it as well. Talking about some of the players, some of the high-end players that Partridge has had the ability to coach throughout his years at the collegiate level. And also Destin talking about how he's one of the most respected defensive line coaches in all of college football. Said that even some other NFL teams were trying to bring him in even recently, but nobody was able to get that through. And talking about how I think he's the only 2-time defensive line coach of the year. So this is a very well-respected guy. And Andrew Moore even saying Colts have their new D-line coach. Pitt's defensive line has ranked in the top 3 nationally in sacks 4 out of the last 5 seasons with Charlie Partridge at the helm. A very interesting hire. And even with a defense in yards per rush allowed in since 2018, multiple times where Partridge has had Pitt's defense giving up less than 3 yards per carry when it comes to that. So Colts need some high-level players. Yeah, no doubt, man. Indiana Sports Connection. Yeah, no doubt. They definitely need to still continue to try to improve things in that category. But I will say this, not necessarily saying that we still need help at that spot, because regardless of how good Partridge is with designing the defense, that could definitely help with getting a few more sacks, getting a little bit more consistent pressure on the quarterback, and 100% can. But I definitely think that you still need that elite player, because you can devise schemes and everything else all you want to, but ultimately, if you don't have that elite player that can take over the game, then ultimately it doesn't matter what you do from a scheme perspective to these people, because at some point, because offenses are just too good. The game is catered to the offenses now, so an offensive guy will find a way, right, to make it work. So, do you think the Colts might be eyeing a D-line player from a Pitt? I don't know. This hire makes me not really think that. I don't really think there is anything to suggest that they will. Who knows? Maybe he had something to do with that. But at the end of the day, it will definitely be interesting to see if this hire influences that in any way and how they approach this defensive line group. But it is what it is. In my opinion, Nate Wiggins is absolutely our first pick. He's fast, aggressive, and he's just so committed to the run game. Yeah, I mean, Nate Wiggins could be that guy for sure. I mean, we talked about it. I even mentioned it in my mock draft. I even mentioned it in a mock draft that that would be a particular thing that we should do. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to actually put... There we go. Yeah, get out of there. Fantastic. All right, yeah. But yeah, I totally agree. There could be a situation where we go corner there. Sorry, guys, just texting Cody here, making sure that I'm keeping him in the loop of what's been going on. Sorry, guys. Old school, go get me the ball. Heavy pressure coaches work for me. Hope Partridge is that coach. I'll tell you what. Uh, there's definitely a lot of disguising that Partridge does and gap responsibility that really helps with his level of expertise at that spot. So it will be interesting to see how they approach it. Our defense needs just a few players. I don't think they need to draft high on defense. Hey, I mean, they certainly don't have to, man, but if there's an elite defensive player there that can help you, I'm totally for it at the end of the day. I think it's a great hire. Need more explosive edge rushers. Maybe he tells Ballard to draft an edge in the draft. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that at the end of the day, that's a very good point. I mean, who knows if we draft an edge, we might. It's one of those situations where Indy might feel they need to, but I mean, at the end of the day, we've seen Ballard struggle with that. Ballard has not been great at selecting defensive ends. It has not been a good road trip for him when it comes to that. We've seen, what has it been? Kamboko Toure, obviously Kwity Paye, Tyquan Lewis, and Terrell Basham, and a few others as of recently. So it will be difficult for me to suggest that the Colts will draft an edge guy that they feel is actually legit really good. So do they? I don't know. I'm going to go with it one way or the other, but my opinion, I don't think they draft an edge. I think they would select one in free agency or trade for one if they needed to. But shout out to the 65 people watching right now, guys. Be sure to like the stream. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. Especially liking the stream helps it get out to more and more people. Let's see here. I want Brock Bowers. I would love Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers would be an elite prospect that you could put on this offense that instantly makes his offense better. What veteran defensive ends are free agents? The highest ones, some of the ones that you'd want are Zadarius Smith. You have Danielle Hunter. You have Brian Burns and Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen most likely gets franchise tagged. There's no way that the Jaguars are going to let that go free. Brian Burns could be an interesting one. I definitely could see that. Danielle Hunter, he's around 30 years old. I don't know if I'd want to touch that. And Zadarius Smith, kind of in the same way. So it's hard. It's hard for me to sit there and suggest that. Angie, I'm not sure who you're talking about with Micah. Are you or I'm assuming you mean Michael Pittman. Pittman, Isaiah, and Grover back. Pittman, yes. Grover, yes. Isaiah, no. That's fine. I think the Colts should re-sign Minshew to trade him to Pats with picks for third pick to get MHJ. That's funny, Nicholas. I like the way you think. I would love to throw Minshew in there, a first round pick, and maybe some more, maybe like a second or third for the next draft to be able to do that. But I don't think in any way, shape, or form the Patriots are going to give up that third for that. Who knows how they feel about their quarterback position right now? I'd like to think that they don't feel confident in it, but you never know when it comes to that stuff. So will he be the replacement for Gus Bradley? No, not yet. This live stream freaking rocks. Appreciate you, Anthony Hurt. Appreciate you. Right, depends who is there. I've heard rumors Ballard's getting fired. Are they true? No, I have not heard such rumors. Don't always believe everything you see on social media. I would definitely say that if Anthony Richardson experiment does not work out or doesn't start showing that it can work out, then we could see that. But I don't think he's on the hot seat yet. I think it's starting to warm up, but I don't think he's on the hot seat yet. We can't get like a Crosby type player. I agree. Ballard is good at cornerbacks, but not a DE. Yeah, he's been great at selecting corners. Like some of the corners he's gotten recently have been really good, both in free agency and in the draft. I feel much more confident in his ability to draft a corner than and a safety than I would a defensive end. 100%. This edge class isn't that great this year. Yeah, I mean, the top level guys there's a couple of really solid ones. The first like three, I think of Dallas Turner, Chop Robinson, and obviously Gerard Verse. Those kinds of people, I would definitely sit there and suggest, oh, wow, yeah, those guys could be your number ones. But are any of those guys really going to be worth taking them first in the draft and hoping that they develop into this elite player? I'm not sure. I don't believe so. If Gerard Verse falls to us at 15, do we draft him? I'm not sure. D-line coach, cool, but if Colts don't re-sign Pitt and get another good receiver, they will be in trouble next year. DJ Chark is the guy. We'll see about that. Brock Bowers or Kool-Aid? If I had the option to get both, I would choose Brock Bowers. That's me. How are you, Derek Charles? How you doing, man? Minshew is trade bait for Pats for third pick. Man, I totally wish, man. I feel like a corner and edge are just hard to hit on. I'm cool with throwing a pick at either. I mean, corner I feel is a lot easier, especially with this draft coming up. But edge is always difficult. Edge is always difficult. Unless you have an elite edge, which is hard to be able to work on that. My girlfriend's going to Pitt, so it's a well-known school. Yeah, I mean, Pitt's a well-known school, man. I mean, say what you want about Pitt, but Pitt always plays some good football, and they've had some really good talent come out of Pitt recently. So no doubt. Colts need another tight end like they need a hole in their head. Bro, I'm telling people, I'm telling you guys need to stop looking at Brock Bowers as a tight end and just think about him as a weapon, right? Think about him as a weapon. And just because the Colts have 7 million tight ends on their roster doesn't mean that discredits the fact that Brock Bowers is most likely better than all of them. We know for a fact he's a better receiving threat than Mo Alley-Cox. We know he's a better wide receiver threat than Kylan Granson. He could very well be more dominant than anything Jelani Woods will ever become. So what's the problem with getting a surefire tight end? What's wrong with that? Ballard defies popular talent evaluations and aims for the diamond in the rough, whom would solidify his career as a great talent selector. Just my opinion. I don't know about that. I don't know. I could understand what you're saying, but I don't think that I don't think that's quite what Ballard's going to be looking to do for the remainder of this. Because if Ballard doesn't start getting the roster better, then this team, then the Colts are going to end up moving on from him regardless. We need a tight end who is actually good and plays. Yeah, exactly. My number one priority free agent signing for the Colts would be Antoine Winfield. Without a doubt he makes it to free agency, though, sadly. Yeah, I highly doubt that he makes it through free agency. Even if he does, you're not going to pay Julian Blackmon the money that you're going to pay him and then pay Winfield more than double that. Winfield's going to get one of the biggest safety contracts in the NFL. So somebody's going to have to pay big money to keep that dude around. So I wouldn't be looking into that. But shout out to everybody watching right now. Be sure to like the stream, guys. Helps it get out to more people. Want to bring everybody in here that we can. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. Comment as much as you can. Give me some things to talk about here, guys. We're having a live stream here before I do all this stuff later on and later tonight. So all in for Burns. I would be all in on it. Absolutely. I would love to get Brian Burns. We need a better backup QB. Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's kind of funny. No. Anyone that wants to talk about Minshew, where was that? Oh, here, hold on. I quote tweeted it. Hold on, let me show you guys. Let me just show you guys this chart. Okay, this embodies Gardner Minshew. Okay, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about here. Look at this. So this chart is charted highly accurate passing leaders, receivers by direction. This line right here is your horizontal passing. So basically, the lower you are on this scope, the worse you are at completing passes to your horizontal. So like, those passes like those screens or those 5-yard dump out routes that you throw to the sidelines, right? And then this line is your vertical. How good are you at throwing the football down the field? Every yard that increases your vertical threat. Those throwing the football deep down the field, hitting your receivers in stride, all of this stuff. Now, on first glance, you look at some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL are doing it this year. Jared Goff is up there. Tua Tagovailoa. You got a couple of other good ones right here in this area. The best place you want to be is up here. So anyone in this is really good. Look at Gardner Minshew, bro. Look at Gardner Minshew down at the very bottom. He is dead last this year in accurate passing leading receivers by direction. Look at that. Look at it. Anyone wants to sit here and talk about Gardner Minshew as if he does anything good to help this team? Look at it. Look at it. It's bad. Guys, it's bad. Bad. Much rather take a chance on another guy. Seriously. What do you think about drafting Bo Nix if he is there at 15? No. We're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. This is a good draft for O-line. And that's great because you know what that means? The more O-linemen that go early in the draft, the more chances that Indianapolis can snag a great weapon or a great player on the defense in that first or second round that we want, right? That's what it is. Is it possible to join the podcast or maybe join the live? I have heard people talk about that. I'm going to try at some point to get like a phone-in call system to try to do that. But I'll give you guys I'll let you know. Right now, it's nothing because I've had issues with that in the past, and I'm not for it right now. I believe drafting a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy round 2 might be smart considering Richardson's injury risk. Your thoughts, unless Minshew is willing to come back for a reasonable backup quarterback contract? No, I'm not selecting J.J. McCarthy in the second round. I believe he's going to be a bust. I don't believe J.J. McCarthy is going to be a great quarterback in this league. But at the end of the day, I would not take a quarterback for the Colts any earlier than the third round. Any earlier than that. If we let Pitt walk, do you think we'll draft a wide receiver or attack that position in free agency? I'll be completely honest, Robert. I don't think there's any way that Ballard lets Pittman walk. Even if there's a team out there that wants to sign him in free agency, you just tag him. You just tag him. Aaron Donald from Pitt. Yes, but this guy, Partridge, was not the one that coached him. Partridge was not part of that team when I think he was. If I believe he was with Wisconsin at the time. Hold on, let me check. No, he was actually the Florida Atlantic head coach during that time. When Aaron Donald was, Partridge was at Wisconsin when Donald would have been there right at the beginning. Then he went to an assistant head coach job at Arkansas and then Florida Atlantic. He didn't get back to being with Pittsburgh till 2017. So he would have never seen Aaron Donald. Brock Bowers is special. Preach it, bro. Preach it. Let's go. You see Z answer Pittman about being on the show. Yeah, definitely, man. And it sounds like T.Y. Hilton is going to be on there. Did you guys hear about that? T.Y. Hilton's going to be on Zaire Franklin's podcast with him and EJ. How dope that would be, man. What's the update on the owner's health? I don't know. Sounds like he's, resting and whatnot. So I like Bowers. The tight ends we have are good, but not elite. Agreed. Thoughts on the Buckeyes next fall? I know that I'm a Buckeye fan, and I say this every year, but I genuinely mean it this time when I say that it is championship or bust for Ryan Day almost, or at least like make it to the championship game. Almost your entire defense is returning. When you had over half of your defense draft eligible this year, all these guys were supposed to go to the draft, and then they all returned. Almost every single one of them returned. And a good chunk of your offensive line is back. Your second best wide receiver on your team is coming back. You have 5-star talent everywhere at your wide receiver position. Most of your O-line is back. Your elite running back is back, along with another transfer running back that you grabbed. You got another guy in Will Howard that's a dual threat quarterback, or even Aaron Noland if you wanted to do that. Just ultimately, this Ohio State team is locked and loaded. That defense for Ohio State should be the number one defense in college football next year. Should be. And that offense can definitely be just as good, if not better, than what they were this last year. Even without Marvin Harrison, they have all that talent. So if Ohio State don't come close to winning it next year, Ryan Day out. Just say it. Don't have to pay your QB next 3 years. Now is the time to win. Steichen and Reggie want a quality wide receiver. I totally agree, Mike. You don't have to pay your quarterback. Honestly, you don't even have to pay him for the next 4. You could give him his 5th-year option and then not have to pay him a full big contract until after that. And especially since Anthony Richardson is still only 21 years old. That's easy. You got 4 years without having to pay this kid $40, $50, $55 million. Go and spend the big bucks on all these other guys. Go spend the big bucks on the other talent. The Chargers will take him before we can, but I love Bowers. I agree, man. Probably. Bowers would be nice, but he's not getting to 15. Hey, listen, guys. There's been plenty of times where guys have made it past further than what they have. So I'm all for it. There's definitely a chance. What up, Derek? You already asked that question, Dwight. I'm pretty sure. Um, Bowers would be not. Oh, okay, we were there already. Nicholas Bailey, Xavier Worthy or Xavier Legette are both solid receivers. I feel like our defense issues can be solved in free agency. Draft weapons. I doubt Bowers falls. Xavier Worthy or Xavier Legette could be good ones, man. I like both. Keenan Allen or Mike Evans. I'd have to go with Mike Evans. And the only here's the thing. I think Keenan Allen can be a top 10 wide receiver in this league just with the best of them. I mean, Mike Evans is up there too, but Mike Evans is usually not as hurt as Keenan Allen is. Keenan Allen gets hurt more frequently than Mike Evans. So I'd like to have Mike Evans because Mike Evans is around more. Tight end works for Richardson so he doesn't get killed out there. I agree. You need more weapons on this offense to that way Richardson doesn't have to take all the unnecessary hits. He has guys that are open. Loved your mock draft, Derek. And Wiggins is who we need, and Steichen can mold Milton. Hey, I appreciate that, Terry. I appreciate that. Do you think since Minshew is a Pro Bowler, he will seek more money? It's possible. If he does, I am fully against the Colts paying him more money than they did last year. Fully against it. You can always draft one for less, especially in the late rounds. Anyone can pull up a stat to defend an argument. Wait until the deep ball project comes out. Well, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, the stat that I showed is he's far above and beyond the worst when it comes to leading receivers from any certain aspect. He is not an accurate quarterback. I mean, he's worse than Kenny Pickett and the vertical aspect by a long shot, and he's dead last still in horizontal, and he's like a full almost 5% worse than Joe Flacco. He's bad, man. He's bad. He's bad. I don't think we go corner in the first round with Juju, Moore, and Flowers set in place. Has to be defensive end. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up Flowers because I think a lot of people are forgetting that Dallas Flowers on this roster, and he was actually looking really good before his injury where he went down. I would not be opposed to the idea of having Dallas Flowers as your second corner. I would not be opposed to it, honestly. So I'm perfectly fine with it if that's the direction that Indianapolis wants to go with. Just have to go with it. 70 people watching, guys, right now. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to hit that like button. Helps it get out to more people. Be sure to comment what stuff you want to talk about. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the push for 18,000 subscribers, so greatly appreciate you guys doing that. You let Pitt walk, this team wins 5 games next year. I don't think it's that bad, but you lose a few games because of it. Saw Zach Hicks breaking down their pressure packages and how it's similar to Brian Flores. If Gus brings some of those elements, I'm be so pumped. Yeah, absolutely, Richard. It will definitely be fun to see how Partridge does with looking at that. Worthy and Legette are both deep threat speedsters that should be around at 15 free agency for defense. Yeah, I mean, Worthy and Legette could quite honestly be second rounders. Quite honestly. So I'm not even worried about it. Okay, so I know I'm late, but the Colts make a decision on the defensive coach. We kind of mentioned it earlier, Smokey. The defensive line coach hire, yeah, they already did that. As far as defensive coordinator, doesn't sound like he's going anywhere. But as Ballard said in the end of the year presser, but as far as D-line coach, yeah, we did that. Charles Partridge from Pitt. Being at 15 sucks. Just grab a top end player. Well, and Dennis, I brought up the idea of the fact that Indiana might decide to go with a top tier player. They might trade up, or there might even be some guys still available at 15. You never know. There's plenty of opportunities for Indianapolis to get an elite guy at 15. Just depends how the draft board goes. I think a young cornerback core that could develop together to be elite, like Seattle or a legit edge, would be better than Bowers in 15. Hey, I mean, I'm not opposed to it either way. Whatever the Colts decide is the best option to go with, I'm for it. I'm for it. You can never have too many good corners. You can never have too many good edge guys. You can also never have too many good weapons. So if Brock Bowers is not there at 15, do we take Kool-Aid McKinstry? If Kool-Aid is there at 15, I'll take him. Did we hire a D-line coach? Yes, we did. We're hiring former Pitt assistant head coach and D-line coach Charlie Partridge, one of the most respected defensive line coaches in all of college football. And Gerard Verse is who we need at 15. Hey, if the Colts think that he's the guy, go right ahead, man. Tennessee QB in late rounds, I agree, is a steal and can get some can run same offense as Richardson. I agree. Give me Jordan Travis over Milton. Hey, if Jordan Travis is there in the 4th round or 5th round, take him, please. Will you eat a breadstick for every pick of the 1st round of the draft? Bro, what, like, how big are these breadsticks you're talking about, bro? I can't do that. That's way too much. That's way too much. At least Quiddy isn't quitting, but do you part ways with him or keep him if an addition is made at edge? How do you feel about Pay's development? Yeah, that's definitely the tough one there, man. I am definitely wondering just how I do wonder how much more Kwity Paye has to offer. I mean, he is in, what is it now? He was selected in the 2021 draft, right? So 2021, 2022, 2023, you're now going into 2024. I mean, if we see Kwity Paye at his best here in year 4, which is right around the time he should be, I don't know how much better it can get for Kwity Paye. I mean, we saw, what was it, 8.5 sacks this year? I mean, that's not bad for an edge guy. I mean, that's right around, I mean, that's better. That's not elite edge. It's not even great edge, but it's definitely good edge, which is fine to be a good edge, but it definitely needs to be better. I'm just not 100% sure how much better he can actually get. You know what I mean? It'll definitely be tough. Minshew is 3rd in NFL with completions of 40 yards or more. He's also 3rd in completions of 50 yards or more, and he played less than the guys above him. Colts need receivers. Well, I don't disagree that the Colts need more weapons, but I mean, if you also take into account the amount of things that he missed and the amount of times that he missed guys going deep, one could argue that, I mean, he had way more opportunities to be explosive and he wasn't, right? So just because he's 3rd in the NFL with completions of 40 yards or more doesn't mean anything. It's just at the end of the day, we've seen it still doesn't mean he's not an inaccurate quarterback. That's true. The draft is a roll of the dice. You let it come to you. It's just about it. It is pretty much it. Give him hell at the round table. I enjoyed watching, bro. Hey, Nicholas Bailey, appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I love chatting it up with the guys at the round table, man. They're fun. Although they bully the hell out of me at times. It is crazy. A Bob Sanders type of safety would be great. Sign a veteran cornerback and develop your youth. I mean, look, I love me some Bob Sanders. All right, Bob Sanders, one of my favorite Colts players of all time. I'm just saying, a Bob Sanders type safety gets himself kicked out of the league within 5 to 6 years. You end up getting unhealthy. You get because you're injured all the time and you just never develop, and that's unfortunate for the game that we live in today. Do we pick up Kwity Paye's fifth option? It's quite possible. I could see that. I actually think if the Colts don't have a decisive favorite at 15, they could trade back a couple picks and get a lot of good value in this draft. I totally agree, Tristan. If they feel that there's 2, 3, 4 guys at 15 that are still there that they want, then I totally see them trading back a few picks. If we go cornerback at 15, would you rather have Cooper DeJean or Nate Wiggins? And here's the thing. I don't know a ton about Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is a much bigger physical specimen. Cooper DeJean's not small, but I also believe Cooper DeJean is a much more, I believe that Cooper DeJean is a more determined pick, has more effort, and has more experience in the system that Ballard or that the coaching staff runs on defense, which I think comes into handy a lot more for this team going forward than having Nate Wiggins, who's more of a guy that you put on an island all by himself. Sanders was a beast. Oh, 100% he was. I mean, to 18 with Bengals or someone similar, get another third this draft. I agree. Iowa DB is versatile and great in punt returns. Yep. That mentality is crucial. 100%, Steve. I mean, that is very, very true. The Texans doing the roundtables so annoying, always smiling and laughing, smug. Dude knows in his heart he fears us with AR. Hey, listen, they don't, and that's my boy Ruben. All right, he's allowed to be smug. He's allowed to smile and laugh. That's what we're all there for. And he had the final laugh in this season for sure. That's just how he is. And I don't mind it. It's always good to have a little bit of cockiness about your team. I got a hidden cockiness that nobody else understands yet. But when Anthony Richardson goes out and plays a full season next year, and these guys end up losing because Anthony Richardson is just that good, at the end of the day, I'm just gonna sit back. I'm just gonna laugh. Just gonna laugh at him. I'm all for it. Go ahead. Be the way you want to be, man. Have no faith in this AR led team, man. I'm fine with it. At the end of the day, when my team wins, I don't really care. I really don't care. What about us signing Kyle Duggar from the Patriots? I don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Sorry, guys. This has been a long day. Oh, man. But please, guys, send some topics in the chat. If you guys send some topics for me in the chat, we can discuss them. Probably go for a couple more minutes here before I start closing this thing up. But would love to be able to answer some more questions. I think we will be right up with the Texans every single year. 100%, man. AR will have a game next year with 300 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if he has multiples of those. Would not be surprised. Texans are overrated. I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to say they're overrated with what they accomplished this year. I don't know if I can really say they're overrated. They got a really great team over there. Do we get 3 QBs like we did last year? I only remember Gardner Minshew after AR's injury. Yeah, you get 3, but you only have 2 count towards your active roster on game days. Give me 2 safeties in free agency. Xavier McKinney, Kyle Duggar, Micah Hyde, Cam Curl, 2 playmakers on the back end will be game changers. Hey, I'll say this. I think even adding Jeremy Chin to the list would be a great one as well. Thanks, Derek. Have a good one. Hey, appreciate you, Dennis. I think we should get T. Higgins if we don't re-sign MPJ. The problem is that you have with that argument is like MPJ and T. Higgins are very similar in regards to and very similar in their games, and their numbers are same. Like, I just don't understand why you wouldn't sign Michael Pittman, but would want to sign T. Higgins. T. Higgins would cost you more, probably. Thoughts on Keon Coleman? I think he's the next DK Metcalf. Let me just look at something real quick because I want to make sure that I am I want to make sure that I'm not like overlooking it. My problem with Keon Coleman is there's just not a lot of situations where I don't think he's an elite athlete. He runs a 4.45. So that's not bad. That's not bad. It's not faster than Alec Pierce. It might be slightly faster than Michael Pittman was. But from a overall rating of like his ability to create separation, I'm not a huge fan of him. Honestly, I'm not. Who thinks we win the Super Bowl, Derek? Probably the Chiefs. I don't think the teams will have an answer if we add a deep threat for the RPO with JT and AR. Yeah, nobody will. Nobody will have an answer for that. None. I'll take MPJ over Higgins all day, every day. I like Calvin Ridley on a 2-year deal. I don't know, man. That dude had a lot of drops last year. I would have wanted him, but I don't know for the cost that you have how much it actually matters. Couple more minutes here, guys, and then I'm gonna probably call it here. So, any last questions that you guys would like to have answered, please throw them that way. Ritter Stallion, who's your pick at 15? There's a lot of good players there, man. I would love for us to get a couple different guys. If you could get Brock Bowers, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean, Roma Dunson, Malik Neighbors, a bunch of different guys like that. I'd be down for it. Is this the year that Ballard opens the wallet? I don't know about this year because he's going to have to re-sign quite a few of his guys, but I expect him to be more aggressive. Will CJ throwing to Michael Pittman make you mad? Bro, there's no way that Ballard will allow that to happen. No way. How much would it take for the Colts to get Brock Bowers if we traded with the Chargers at 6? Well, you're gonna have to give up your first. Not entirely sure if you have to give up. Not entirely sure if you have to give up. You might have to give up. You might have to get up another first rounder, maybe. But I would say you'd have to give up at least 2 seconds and a third. At least. Thanks for the show. Hope Ballard is more aggressive this offseason. Appreciate you, Steve. Why didn't the Colts run out 4th and 1? It's a lot of the, why didn't the Colts run it? Well, at the end of the day, they had a play call that worked. You had just as much of a chance of someone missing their block and JT getting stuffed at the line, especially since they would have loaded the box. So at the end of the day, you can't be upset about it. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Close to an hour live stream here. So I appreciate you guys coming out here and throwing out a lot of questions for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button on the way out. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much. And as always, go Colts.